I never expected that helping my wife's sister would turn my life upside down. What started as a simple act of kindness quickly spiraled into a nightmare I couldn't have imagined. Sometimes, the people closest to you can become the hardest to trust, and the fight to take back what's yours is only just beginning. You know, I always thought family came first. My wife and I had been married for almost 6 years, and though we had our share of arguments like anyone else, I believed we were solid. I worked hard, provided for us, and tried to be a good man. So when her younger sister, Lisa, hit a rough patch and showed up at our door with her 4-year-old son, I didn't hesitate. Her ex had bailed, she'd lost her job, and now she was being evicted from her apartment. She had nowhere to go. I looked at my wife, and she gave me that hopeful look, the one that says, "Please, say yes." So I did. I said, "Of course they can stay here for a bit, just until they get back on their feet." Back then, I truly believed it would just be temporary. A few weeks, maybe a month. What was I supposed to do? Turn away a struggling single mom and her kid? That's not who I am. I grew up watching my grandfather open his door to anyone in need, and I guess I picked up that habit. I cleared out the guest room, moved some of my stuff to the garage to make space, and even paid off a few of her overdue bills so she wouldn't drown in debt while trying to stabilize. It felt good at first, doing the right thing. But then, things started to shift. Subtly at first, and I should have seen the signs. At first, Lisa was all gratitude and soft-spoken thank yous. She cooked dinner a few times, helped tidy up a little, and promised she was already applying for jobs. My wife said I was doing a good thing. I believed it. But within 2 weeks, that attitude started to fade. Lisa stopped cooking. The messes increased. Dishes were left in the sink for days. Her son, let's call him Max, started running wild through the house. He'd draw on the walls, knock over my tools, and even broke a few of my model cars from my old collection. And when I tried to gently talk to him, Lisa would swoop in like a lioness, glaring at me like I'd screamed at her child. "Oh, he's just a kid," she'd say with a sneer. "Relax." Max was 4, sure, but he acted like a tornado in a sugar factory. And Lisa wasn't exactly parenting him. She spent most of her day on her phone, scrolling or chatting with friends, not job hunting like she claimed. Weeks passed. She showed no sign of even trying to leave. I raised it with my wife one evening, carefully, trying not to sound like the bad guy. "Babe, I thought they'd be out by now. It's been almost a month. Lisa doesn't seem to be doing much to find a place." Instead of agreeing, my wife went quiet. Her lip quivered. "She's my sister. What do you want me to do? Throw her on the street?" she said, tears welling up. I backed off. I always did when she cried. But something didn't sit right with me. I wasn't angry yet, just confused. Frustrated. I told myself to be patient. I thought maybe I was just being selfish. But Lisa was just getting started. About 6 weeks in, Lisa had officially stopped pretending she was a guest. She started taking over the living room, leaving her laundry draped across the couch, turning the TV up loud late into the night. I'd come home from work exhausted and find her stretched out on my recliner, eating snacks she never paid for and barking at Max to get off the table like it was a mild inconvenience. One Saturday morning, I walked into the kitchen and saw Max standing on the counter, barefoot, pouring orange juice into a cereal bowl like it was some kind of soup. There was juice everywhere. I tried to be calm. I really did. "Hey, buddy, let's get down from there, okay?" I said, stepping forward. Lisa, without missing a beat from scrolling on her phone, snapped, "Don't talk to him like that. He's fine." I stared at her. "He's standing on the counter." "Yeah, so? It's not like he's hurting anyone," she said, not even looking up. "Maybe if you relaxed once in a while, your face wouldn't look like you're 40 already." I didn't say a word. I just walked out. Later that night, I talked to my wife again. This time, I wasn't as soft. "I want a deadline," I said. "Lisa needs to move out by the end of the month. This can't go on." My wife went quiet again. Then came the tears. The guilt trip. "She has no one, and you're acting like she's garbage. That's my sister. How can you be so cold?" "I'm not being cold," I said. "But I'm not a doormat either. She's treating our home like it's hers." My wife turned away. "You just don't understand how hard her life has been." And just like that, I became the bad guy in my own house. I knew then I wasn't just fighting Lisa anymore. I was losing my wife too. Things escalated faster than I expected. The following week, Lisa invited a few of her friends over without even asking. I came home from work to find 3 strangers in my kitchen, 2 women and 1 guy, drinking beers from my fridge and laughing like they owned the place. I stood there for a second, stunned. One of them gave me a lazy nod. Lisa didn't even bother introducing me. "Hey," I said finally, keeping my voice even. "What's going on here?" Lisa turned and gave me that smug look I was beginning to hate. "Oh, we're just hanging out. Chill. You're acting like I invited a biker gang." "You didn't ask," I said firmly. "This is my house, Lisa." That's when she rolled her eyes. "Our house? You mean the one I've been living in for 2 months? Sorry, didn't realize you needed permission to be human." And then she laughed. My wife walked in mid-confrontation. I thought for once she'd be on my side, but no. She looked between us and said, "Can't you two just not fight for one day? This tension is exhausting." I felt like I was losing my mind. I told her this wasn't normal, that her sister was crossing every line imaginable. But she just kept defending Lisa, brushing it all off as temporary. "It'll get better," she promised. "Just a little more time." But it didn't. It got worse. That weekend, I found Lisa going through a box of my old things in the garage, stuff from my childhood, my dad, and especially my grandfather, who had passed away 5 years earlier. She was holding a small wooden model boat he'd made when I was a kid. It was cracked now, the sail torn. I stared at it, stunned. "What happened?" Lisa shrugged. "Oh, Max probably got into that box. You really shouldn't leave this junk lying around." Junk. That boat was one of the few things I had left from my grandfather. I could feel my jaw clench as heat rose to my face. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. But something inside me shifted that day. Something permanent. The next morning, I took the broken model boat into my hands again, quietly sitting at the kitchen table before work. I just stared at it. My grandfather built that with me when I was 8. We spent 2 months sanding the edges, painting it, stringing the sails. It wasn't just a keepsake. It was him. It was us. And now it was destroyed because Max had been left unsupervised again, and Lisa couldn't care less. I heard footsteps behind me. It was my wife. "You're still sulking over that thing?" she said, pouring coffee like it was just another Tuesday. It was already old and dusty. "Maybe it's time you let go of the past." I turned to look at her. "Are you seriously saying that?" She sighed. "Look, Max is just a kid. And Lisa didn't do it on purpose. Why are you making this into a big deal?" "Because no one respects me in this house," I said, standing up. "Not you, not Lisa, and not even that kid. You're all acting like this is your house, and I'm just some guest getting in the way." She folded her arms. "Maybe if you weren't always grumpy and controlling, people would actually want to be around you." That one hurt. I grabbed my things and left for work in silence. I needed space, air, perspective, but I didn't know what was waiting for me when I came home. That evening, I pulled into the driveway and saw something strange. The front door had a different handle. I tried my key. It didn't work. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Finally, Max peeked through the window and yelled, "Mom says you're not allowed in." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. Then Lisa opened the door just enough to look out. "Yeah, we changed the locks. You're not welcome here if you're going to keep bringing negative energy around the child." The child. She said it like I was a threat. In my own house. "Are you out of your mind?" I asked, my voice low and dangerous. "You're unstable," she said. "You scared Max. We're doing what's best for him." I tried calling my wife. She didn't pick up. When she finally texted me back an hour later, all she said was, "It's just for a few days. Maybe you need time to cool off." That was it. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't my home anymore. But they were about to learn exactly whose name was on the deed. I sat in my truck outside my own house for nearly an hour that night. Part of me still couldn't believe it. They really locked me out. My wife, her sister, that kid. And the worst part? They acted like I was the problem. But once the shock wore off, something else took over, clarity. I drove to a hotel for the night. Not because I was defeated, no. Because I needed quiet. Focus. A place where I could think without being interrupted or disrespected. The next morning, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years, an old college buddy, Ryan, who was now a divorce attorney. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey man, long time no. I need your help," I said. "It's serious. We met for lunch that day." I told him everything. The free rent, the broken heirloom, the emotional manipulation, and finally, being locked out of my own house, by people who didn't pay a cent for it. He didn't even blink. First of all, he said, leaning forward, you need to gather proof. Texts, emails, any kind of record that shows they've taken over the home and that your wife enabled it. This is going to get messy. I already figured that, I said. And second, he continued, you're not leaving them in that house. I nodded. Good. Because I'm not. Over the next few days, I moved quietly. I stayed with Ryan for a bit, got my ducks in a row, gathered every document, the deed, the mortgage, bank statements, and even security cam footage from my Ring doorbell, showing them changing the lock without my permission. But I didn't just want them out. I wanted them to feel every ounce of disrespect they'd thrown at me. And trust me, revenge was already loading in the chamber. Ryan and I built a bulletproof case over the next week. He helped me document everything. Texts from my wife brushing off my concerns, voice messages where Lisa mocked me, timestamps proving when I paid the bills, when Lisa moved in, and most importantly, that the house was mine alone. I had bought it 3 years before I even met my wife. It was legally in my name. No co-ownership. No shared mortgage. Just me. That meant one very important thing. They had no legal right to change the locks or kick me out. But I didn't rush back in swinging. No, I wanted this to land like thunder. So I filed for divorce. Quietly. Strategically. Ryan filed an emergency petition for temporary possession of the house. Since I was locked out of my own property without cause or consent, the court granted it within 48 hours. Just like that, I had a court order in hand. We also sent a formal notice of eviction to Lisa, with her name specifically listed. She wasn't on any lease or rental agreement. In the eyes of the law, she was an unwanted guest and now legally trespassing. I told Ryan I didn't just want them out. I wanted it to sting. He smirked and said, then let's time it just right. We set everything in motion. I was calm, focused, ruthless, because now I wasn't just trying to take my house back. I was reclaiming my dignity. It was a Friday afternoon when I made my move. Ryan arranged for a sheriff's deputy to meet me at the house to enforce the court order. I stood beside the officer, legal papers in hand, as we approached the front door. I could hear Lisa laughing inside. The officer knocked firmly. After a moment, Lisa opened the door, wearing my wife's robe, holding a coffee mug that said #OneDad. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her smirk disappeared the second she saw the uniform. Can I help you? She asked, arms crossed. The deputy held up the paperwork. Court order. You're being evicted, effective immediately. This man is the legal homeowner. You have 10 minutes to gather essentials. She blinked. Wait, what? No. This is some mistake. No mistake, I said coldly. You broke into my house, changed my locks, mocked me, disrespected me. You thought I wouldn't fight back? My wife appeared behind her, pale as a ghost. What's going on? I filed for divorce, I said, loud enough for both of them to hear. And since you helped your sister kick me out of my own home, you're out too. Court's orders. Lisa screamed. My wife burst into tears. I didn't flinch. I stood in that doorway while Lisa frantically grabbed a few bags and screamed at Max to put his shoes on. My wife tried pleading with the officer, but it was no use. You had your chance, I told her. You chose them. Now you can live with that choice. 10 minutes later, they were on the curb. Bags, toys, blank stares. I stepped back into my home and shut the door. And for the first time in months, I breathed. I knew Lisa would try to twist the story. Sure enough, that evening she posted a long, dramatic Facebook rant. The usual garbage. My poor child and I were thrown out by a cruel, heartless man. All because we needed help. Families should stick together, but some people only care about control. Cue the flood of sympathy from people who didn't know the truth. But what she didn't know, I had receipts, screenshots, videos, photos, even a voice memo where she called me a pathetic pushover and bragged that she didn't need to pay rent because I was too scared to kick her out. I didn't respond publicly. Nope. I sent those clips and screenshots directly to every mutual friend and family member she tried to manipulate. Quietly, cleanly, no insults, no drama, just truth. Within 24 hours, most of the sympathy posts were deleted. A few people even messaged me to apologize. Said they hadn't known the full story. Said they were disgusted by what Lisa did, especially after hearing her mock me while living rent-free. But I wasn't done yet. I called the utility companies. Removed my wife's name from everything she was tied to: phone plan, streaming services, credit cards. She'd been using my accounts for years without ever contributing a cent. That ended now. I even contacted her job and confirmed she'd been listing my house as her official residence. Once the divorce filing hit, that was a lie, and I had the proof. I didn't get her fired, but HR got very interested when I forwarded the eviction notice. Revenge wasn't about screaming or breaking things. It was about calmly taking back everything they stole, piece by piece, and watching them realize they'd just burned their last bridge. The silence after the eviction was strange. Peaceful, but eerie, like standing in the ruins of a battlefield. I expected rage, screaming, door pounding, threats. But no, Lisa and my wife went dark. For days. Then, finally, the text came from my wife. "Can we talk? Just the two of us. Please." I didn't respond right away. I needed to think. But curiosity got the better of me. We met in a neutral place, a coffee shop halfway across town. She showed up looking exhausted, like the storm had finally hit her face. She didn't start with an apology. Of course not. She started with excuses. She had no one else. I didn't know what to do. "You were getting so cold all the time." I let her talk. Then I calmly slid a copy of the court filing across the table. Her hands trembled. "I never wanted it to end like this," she whispered. "You stood there while your sister changed the locks on my house," I said. "You didn't even warn me. You didn't just pick her over me. You helped her destroy what we had." She looked down. Then she asked, "Is there any way we can fix this?" I nearly laughed. "I already fixed it," I said. "I got my house back. My life. My self-respect. You can keep your guilt." She left in tears. Lisa, meanwhile, had been couch hopping. I heard through the grapevine that no one wanted her around for long. Shocking, I know. Word had spread. People didn't want to be used or insulted. She even tried moving back in with their mom, but apparently that bridge was burned too. As for Max, I honestly felt bad for him. He didn't choose any of this. He was a wild kid, yeah, but kids reflect what they see. And he saw his mom treat people like trash and get tossed out for it. Lesson learned? I hope so. The dust settled, but life didn't just go back to normal. I realized I had to rebuild, not just the house, but myself. The house. I spent weekends fixing the damage Lisa and Max had caused, repainting walls, cleaning messes, replacing broken items. Each nail hammered felt like reclaiming a piece of my dignity. My wife. We were officially separated now. The divorce paperwork was moving forward, and while it stung, I knew it was the only way. Sometimes love isn't enough when trust is shattered. I started therapy, something I'd put off for years. Talking about everything, the betrayal, the hurt, the anger, helped me make sense of the chaos. And Max? I reached out to my wife to ask if I could see him sometimes. Not to interfere, but because I still cared for the kid who'd grown wild in the storm. She hesitated but agreed. I wanted to be the stable figure he never had during those months. This whole nightmare taught me one crucial thing. Boundaries aren't just important, they're necessary. Being a good person doesn't mean letting others walk all over you. And sometimes, the family you choose is more important than the family you're born into. I never imagined that helping family would turn into a nightmare. But I learned a harsh truth. Not every blood relation is worth keeping in your life. My wife's loyalty blinded her to the damage her sister was causing. I thought family meant support, but sometimes it means enabling bad behavior. I tried to be patient, to set limits, but my boundaries were ignored, trampled on like they meant nothing. It's easy to say family first when everything is smooth. But when it gets rough, when trust breaks, you see who really stands by you. For me, that was the wake-up call. I had been sacrificing my peace for people who didn't respect me. I had been the shoulder to cry on, the wallet to lean on, and the doormat to wipe their feet. I vowed never to let that happen again. Now, I surround myself with people who lift me up, respect me, and actually value me. Sometimes, that means walking away, even when it hurts. Looking back, I realize I made some mistakes too. I should have set boundaries sooner. I should have been firmer with my wife when Lisa first started overstepping. I should have trusted my gut when things didn't feel right. But hindsight is 20/20ths. I also learned that kindness doesn't mean weakness. Helping family is noble, but enabling toxic behavior only destroys everyone involved. And most importantly, self-respect has to come first. If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. I'm sharing this because I want others to avoid my pain, to speak up early, to protect their homes, their hearts, and their peace. Don't let anyone make you feel small in your own life. If I could go back and give myself one piece of advice, it would be this. Helping family is important, but not at the cost of your own well-being. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you open your home and heart, make sure it's with people who respect your kindness, not exploit it. And don't be afraid to say no. No is not a dirty word. No doesn't make you selfish. No can save your sanity and your life. I wish I'd learned that sooner. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing it as a warning and a reminder that sometimes the hardest battles bring the greatest growth. I lost my wife. I lost what I thought was family. But I found myself. I found strength I didn't know I had. Boundaries I was too afraid to set. And a future I get to build on my own terms. If you're reading this and struggling with toxic family or a partner who refuses to protect you, know this. You deserve respect. You deserve peace. You deserve a home where you feel safe. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Because at the end of the day, the most important family is the one you create for yourself. And that's exactly what I'm doing now.